What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. That's a pretty nice movement today, so we'll go ahead and take a look at what happened this morning and then kind of share the afternoon setup that we ended up taking. We're going to start on the 4 hour. If you guys watched the video from yesterday, we were speaking about how we wanted to see if price didn't continue to reach for basically buy side. Right, we were able to close back above this daily fair value gap. We also closed above this 4 hour bearish fair value gap yesterday. So once we saw that here, we expected this to become an inversion and offer us support and basically, right, propel us into buy side here first, this other 4 hour fair value gap, and then ultimately we want to see this high get cleared as well. So that was kind of the higher time frame basis. And then you'll see on the lower time frames how we took advantage of that. We'll go to the 5 minute real quick, just because we did use a 5 minute fair value gap this morning that we ended up right kind of keying off of. Just want to point out, first of all, 4 hour fair value gap. Here's that 4 hour inversion. We wick into it at 10 o'clock news, and then we hold the consequent encroachment nicely. We can actually move this daily just because we don't need to see the whole thing. But we had a new week opening gap here. We had midnight level. We had previous day high and a 4 hour inversion. So as we were speaking this morning, we had a lot of discounts in here that we would expect price to find support at. It was just a matter of kind of waiting for the actual setup to present itself, and then we were able to take advantage of that. Right, as we work down to the 1 minute, right, we spoke about, we did want to pull up this 5 minute fair value gap here. So we're using this one because if you look early on in the morning, as we leave this new week opening gap for the first time, right, kind of displacing away from it, that's that discount that gets created. We close above it, we trade into it, finding support, and then we displace away. So really that's just the only fair value gap or the first fair value gap anyway, that gets created. And then you see it find support once, twice, and even 3 times for this wick. So when we close underneath it, if we were to retake that, right, reclaiming this as a bullish fair value gap, that would become a pretty important level for us. So we'll label that. Now as we look at it on the 1 minute, right, first of all, here's that 4 hour. So same delivery, 10 o'clock news, wicks right into it. We spoke about how if we really are bullish, this low should not be violated. So we get a little bit lower, right, close to it, but you'll see that we hold that consequent encroachment pretty nice. We bounce from there, and then once we get back above previous day high, we use that as support, and then from here on out really just started using the discounts. So we hold the volume imbalance, we get above midnight, we then hold that, and we were speaking about if we can close above this 5 minute, we would look to enter on a retracement into its consequent encroachment. So we wanted to enter here, stop below this swing low, and we like that entry because we had a volume imbalance there as well. Unfortunately, however, we just didn't get the retracement. So instead, price takes off, right? It kind of rips away from us, displaces right through the 830 and through the short-term high. And once we saw that, it opens with a bullish volume imbalance. That's when we went ahead and got long on that candle. So we have that long here. Right, you can see once we basically trade into this candle's closure, that's when we got long. We ended up forming that fair value gap, institutional order flow. So we could have added to it. We were fine just holding. And then ultimately we get the release to where price runs into really all of our objectives. Right, we were stair-stepping on the way down. We spoke about how we had left behind equal highs paired with an inefficiency right here. So we ended up partialing at that consequent encroachment with this first partial. So after we partial at that consequent encroachment, our second objective, right, final target, just became this buy side here. So it's a 15-minute swing point. That became our buy side liquidity. We were speaking about how after we cleared that, we would look for a retracement into this as an inversion because we still wanted to see really, right, this high here and then ultimately the 4 hour fair value gap. Right, we took our final really exit at just the old daily swing point. So a lot of buy side that we could have targeted. We did reach up into really our final objectives. And although we didn't take part of that, right, we still were content with what we ended up having. But you'll see that once we clear that buy side, right, we get out of our position fully. We then simply add again once we trade into this inversion here. So we dip into that, we go ahead and go long. We did give one more run lower, just into those equal highs. Old highs will act as support in the right conditions. Right, so we reprice into the low that inversion as well. And then once we move away from it, we leave behind a fair value gap. We would expect that would hold us, especially because it's paired with the new week opening gap. Right, this has been rebalanced, so there's really no need to return into that. And that's why you see we spend a little bit of time here. But ultimately we get that release. We took a quick partial as we ran down equity through this high just in case we wanted to reverse. And then ultimately, as you saw, we get taken out at that daily swing point. So a nice morning run, right? We had nice morning executions. We could have added, as we said, inside that fair value gap here, but for us, we're fine where we did. Best entry would have been if we could have got a nice retracement, but instead we just use that inversion right away. So we close above it, give one quick tap, and then boom, we get that acceleration. As we take a look at afternoon price action now, so we are able to, right, you'll notice we continue to reach up for the high, that 4 hour. We fall just short of it. And then we retrace. Where do we retrace? Right into the low of it, right, paired with that fair value gap on a 1 minute sense. So once we see that, we're still expecting bullishness to continue. Right, we're simply seeing this as a false move to clear out some sell side that we had been building on the way up, especially because we didn't actually hit the high of the 4 hour. So now this becomes our short-term buy side. Right, in our second execution, which was a pretty clean one, as we create this bearish fair value gap right through consequent encroachment, we're simply waiting to invert that. Right, so we want to see price close back above this area because that would be a good indication that we're going to resume bullishness. We do close back above it here, and you see we leave behind an actual bullish fair value gap. So strong support here. We ended up just using the actual fair value gap itself. Stop goes below this candle here where we wicked through and then push above, right? Also below the inversion. Really no need to get back down into that. And for us, we just had a nice easy 10 handle target. Price was moving rather rapidly. So we got out here. We took partials as we ran down equity through buy side. Slight partial and then just closed at the 10 handle mark, which was on this candle, right? Catch that swing high. We did kind of consolidate slightly. And as you saw, we are reaching for this buy side. But as we headed into power hour, just more seek and destroy, right? So low, a high, higher high, lower low. We made one more lower low, and then we actually kind of catapulted straight up into this buy side. We haven't cleared it out yet. So if we go to a 5 minute real quick, right? We have this large 5 minute fair value gap. This should hold us here. Right, we have equal highs. I wouldn't really expect to see this 5 minute be broken. More than likely, by the time we get here tomorrow, this will already be ran. So we'll just kind of have to reassess, but just nice to watch that for now. You'll see that we held this 5 minute fair value gap as well. So as we mentioned, really just respecting all the discounts, right? The initial move of the morning was to kind of run lower, the Judas swing to clear out that sell side to return into our new week opening gap, higher time frame discount. And then from there, all bullishness as we return into buy side. So there's that nice clean delivery that we like to see, right? Kind of had to sit through ugliness early in here, but eventually it paid out and we were able to catch a nice move. Going into tomorrow, as we mentioned, right, just want to see this buy side get ran. If we do run that buy side, I would kind of expect consolidation again. But if we can kind of accelerate through that, then we may be able to start looking for more potential expansion. So really just kind of to play it day by day at this point. As we approach all-time highs, we really just have to rely on what kind of, right, 1 hour, 4 hour, and 15 minute structure that we get. So until then, we'll be back tomorrow morning at 9:25. And that'll be the last stream of the week, but we'll make it a good one. So yeah, hope you guys have a good night, and we'll meet up tomorrow at 9:25 a.m. Talk in the morning. Take care.